Have you ever imagined a casual interview turning into a sudden confession that leaves the entire studio speechless? That is exactly what just happened during BTS's appearance on Capital FM. Let's dive right in. Welcome back, ARMY. Today we are breaking down the viral Taekook moment at Capital FM that has the whole timeline shaking. Grab your snacks, because this is going to make you scream. The BTS interview with Capital FM initially ran like any other typical broadcast. Adopting the fun, very British day out theme, the members looked incredibly relaxed as they enjoyed some traditional English tea and warm scones. The atmosphere was incredibly warm, especially since this is one of their major reunion moments, gathering together in full formation on screen after completing their long military service. But, for those of you with eagle eyes, you probably noticed that Jungkook's gaze seemed completely glued to the direction where Taehyung was sitting from the very beginning of the show. He was barely looking at the hosts or the food. There was one specific, undeniable moment that became the ultimate turning point of the tension in that exact room. It wasn't just a fleeting glance, it was a lingering look that spoke volumes without a single word being uttered out loud. It completely shifted the dynamic of the interview, pulling everyone right in. When the host enthusiastically brought out the classic British chocolate treat, called the caterpillar cake, the jokes immediately erupted. The boys were teasing that the iconic caterpillar face resembled a rabbit, an alien, and eventually, they even joked that it looked exactly like Jungkook. Now, right in the middle of the loud laughter from the other members, the camera perfectly captured a small but intensely heavy interaction between Taekook. The way Jungkook looked at Taehyung was entirely different from his usual playful demeanor. It felt as if there was a completely silent conversation happening exclusively between the two of them, a secret language that only they could truly understand. The sudden shift in his eyes was so profound that you could feel the gravity of the moment even through the screen. And believe it or not, this was only the very beginning of the tension, guys. Things were about to get way more emotional as the interview went on. The overall tension slowly began to shift when the host started touching upon their lives after finishing their mandatory military service. When asked about what they missed the most about each other while being apart for so long, the atmosphere suddenly turned incredibly emotional. Taehyung openly shared how lonely it actually felt inside the military camp because he didn't have anyone close enough to talk to or simply share his daily struggles and deepest worries with. The moment Taehyung began to narrate this highly vulnerable and fragile experience, Jungkook's facial expression instantly dropped its playful smile and turned deadly serious. His full attention became completely and absolutely locked onto V. You could easily see the raw empathy and deeply rooted protective instinct flashing across his face. It was as if he wanted to reach out right then and there. The room went quiet, allowing this beautifully poignant display of genuine care to unfold naturally. This is exactly where we reach the absolute climax of the entire broadcast. When it was finally Jungkook's turn to respond about how it felt to be reunited with the members again, he softly mentioned that it felt just like meeting his family. However, it wasn't merely about the words he used. It was the way he spoke, and more importantly, exactly where his eyes landed while delivering that heartfelt sentence. He stared directly and intensely at Taehyung, his gaze incredibly deep and unwavering. For the dedicated armies who have been following their journey for years, it was crystal clear that this was no ordinary glance. It felt exactly like a bold, honest confession of how profoundly relieved and fiercely protective he feels now that he is finally able to stand by Taehyung's side once again. The raw emotion radiating from him successfully made every single viewer hold their breath, completely mesmerized by the overwhelming sincerity of his unspoken declaration. The atmosphere inside the Capital FM studio during that precise moment felt slightly awkward yet overwhelmingly sweet for a split second. Jimin and Jin, who are always incredibly perceptive, immediately exchanged knowing, meaningful smiles as they observed the intense interaction between the two youngest members. Even the British host appeared to clearly notice the undeniable, overpowering chemistry radiating between them, although he tried his very best to remain professional and smoothly move on to the next interview question. That brief, heavy silence in the room, immediately followed by Taehyung's subtle, incredibly endearing shy smile, truly made all the armies watching from their screens instinctively hold their breath in pure awe. It was a perfectly unscripted, highly authentic reaction that simply cannot be faked or manufactured. The pure electricity in the air was so undeniably palpable that it instantly became the most talked about highlight of the broadcast. What made the whole situation even more chaotic was how they couldn't seem to hide their closeness for the remainder of the video. When the conversation shifted to reminiscing about the crazy memories from their legendary Wembley Stadium concert and dropping exclusive hints about their brand new tracks like Hooligan from the Arirang album, Taekook's energy completely synchronized. They continuously finished each other's sentences flawlessly and laughed out loud with absolutely zero hesitation or restraint. Honestly, it is exactly this kind of wonderfully natural, boldly unfiltered, and entirely unscripted interaction that feels the most real and authentic in the eyes of the loving viewers. Seeing them completely let their guard down and just comfortably exist in each other's presence on an international media platform is something fans will cherish forever. Their dynamic has undeniably matured, bringing an even deeper level of comfort and mutual understanding to the screen. It definitely did not take very long at all for this specific Capital FM interview clip to completely take over the internet and start trending worldwide. The YouTube comment section and the entire Twitter timeline immediately exploded, heavily flooded by absolutely hysterical armies who were deeply moved by how strong Taekook's unbreakable bond has become post-military. Many Korean netizens and international fans alike strongly agreed that the agonizing time they spent apart during their service has ironically made Jungkook significantly braver and much more open about proudly displaying his care, affection, and immense loyalty toward Taehyung in the public eye. There is absolutely nothing left to hide anymore. The sheer transparency in their beautiful friendship is a massive testament to how much they have fundamentally grown as individuals and as soulmates. Fans are aggressively replaying those exact timestamps, endlessly analyzing every single micro-expression they shared. Ultimately, this highly anticipated Capital FM interview was far more than just a standard promotional schedule for the Arirang album or a fun excuse to try some random British snacks. Behind all the laughter and casual banter, we all became first-hand witnesses to how profoundly Taekook's deeply cherished relationship has evolved, becoming vastly more mature, unconditionally supportive, and beautifully protective over one another. If Jungkook is already this brave and willing to openly throw such heavily emotional and deeply meaningful gazes right in front of a massive international media outlet, we can absolutely expect to witness an abundance of even more legendary, heart-fluttering Taekook moments during their upcoming global concert tour. The unbreakable bond they showcased today is merely a small glimpse of what is yet to come. Are you guys mentally and emotionally prepared for the chaos they are about to bring to the stage? Because things are about to get wild. That was our deep dive into the viral Taekook moment that completely shook the Capital FM studio. What do you guys think was the real meaning behind Jungkook's secret gaze toward Taehyung? Drop your wildest theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so this channel can keep bringing you the hottest K-pop updates. See you in the next video. Bye bye.